And we're back with some more Seattle Kraken franchise mode. And in this one, we have quite the offseason ahead of us because we're headed into year number 4 now. And I mean, obviously, it was a given that this team wasn't going to see much success early on. But we also haven't seen much improvement for that matter as far as our record goes. I mean, we did technically have our best season as far as the amount of wins goes. But point-wise, we were actually worse than our first year, which we had 63 points that year. We only have 57 this year. And obviously, we're seeing some good growth out of guys like Luke Hughes. He's already a 3.5-star ability. We have guys like Shane Wright, who's a 5-star potential, 2.5-star current ability. But I feel like even with this roster, we're kind of underperforming because we should at least, with a roster like this, I wouldn't necessarily expect playoffs, but I also wouldn't expect us to be where we're currently at record-wise. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to fire Gerard Gallant. Now you may be thinking, why would you fire Gerard Gallant? He looks like a great coach, and he is for the most part. But what I don't like about Gerard Gallant is his motivation rating. As for what motivation does, is it's his ability to get players to perform to their maximum potential despite pressure or situations that may cause unhappiness. So in the middle of the building stage of our franchise, that's kind of a key component, and his motivation skill is only at 9. Whereas as we take a look at the assistant coach that we hired just this past January, I believe it was, Davis Payne, his motivation's at a 15. And his coaching ratings obviously aren't as good as Gerard Gallant's are, but they're still respectable. You know, they're good enough to get the job done. And that motivation up there at 15 is what I'm really focusing on. And not only that, his offensive preference is set to offensive. And that's kind of what I want for this team so that we can develop our guys offensively. And they may get better potentials as a result of that. So that's my main reasoning in firing Gerard Gallant and bringing Davis Payne on board as our new head coach. So Gerard Gallant, we are going to be releasing you. So good luck to him in the future. But now, we are going to assign Davis Payne as our new head coach. So there you go. It has been done. He is now officially our head coach. So hopefully he can do something better for this team than what Gerard Gallant did. I mean, I won't discount what Gerard Gallant did with this team. Obviously, we had a lot of current ability growth with guys like Luke Hughes. Fantilli, he's already a 3-star ability. He actually grew in potential to 3.5 stars because I think he was only a 3-star potential before. So there was certainly a lot of growth that was done as far as individual players, but not really as a team. And that was what I was focused on when I was considering, motivation and stuff like that. So with that being done, I am going to re-sign a couple of players that I would like to bring back next season. I've already approached Frank Koo and Nodler, I believe. So now I still have to approach Duclair, Lundestrom, Pearson, I guess. Nolan Foote for sure. I don't know about Kotkaniemi because he's sort of, over the past 3 seasons, he hasn't exactly been great. Only 12 points this past season. I can see why Montreal gave up on him, honestly. I mean, I may just sign him just because he's young, but I don't know. I don't see him as a key part of the future at the very least. So I guess we'll sign Pearson here. He's asking for $5.5 million for 3 years. I guess we can provide that. I mean, it's not like it's much different from what he's currently making. So I'll give him, instead of 3 years, I'll try to take him down to 2. And instead of this, I'll give him 5.35. What does he think of that? Not quite. Okay, so he's really focused on that 3 years. So what I'll do, I'll try taking him down to 5.3 for 3 years instead. What does he think about that? Yeah, he's not willing to budge too much here, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to settle for this. Duclair wants 5.42 for 3 years. I think I can do that for him. I'll try taking him down a little bit, 5.22. All right, so at least he's willing to negotiate. He's down to 5.26, so we'll just meet him there. Lundestrom, he wants 2.7 for 1 year. Sounds good to me. I mean, I wasn't too impressed with Lundestrom, but he's one of those guys who I'm just signing because he's young. Nolan Foote, he wants 2.25 for 4 years. Honestly, I kind of like what Nolan Foote did this year, so I'll give him that. I'll take him down a little bit. I'll see if I could go down to $2 million for 4 years. That'd be actually kind of a steal, I think, if we could get him for that. Let's see. He's not willing to budge too much, it doesn't look like. Yeah, he's not budging much. All right, I'll just give him this. But getting back to what Foote did this season, he actually had 33 points in 81 games played. He had a 58 grade, so that wasn't ideal, but it looks like he's getting better, especially offensively, because he had an offensive grade of 62. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what the future holds for Nolan Foote. Now, Kotkaniemi, he wants 4.1 for 3 years. I don't know. I haven't been too impressed with Kotkaniemi ever since we got him, honestly. And he's been getting worse with grade every year. I'll try going 1 year for him and see what we can do here. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be set on that 3 years. I'll try taking him up in salary a little bit. I mean, we can afford it, so I don't mind trying to do this, if only for 1 year. So we'll see what he thinks about 4.43 for 1 year. Yeah, it looks like he's kind of set on that 3 years there. I'll take him up to 4.63 for 1 year. Wow, yeah, he's set on that 3 years. He's even going down in his asking price. All right, since he's asking for 3 years, let's see if I can take him down a little bit more in his asking price. Ask for response. There you go. That's all right. That's sort of more reasonable. That's around what he's making right now anyway. And I will not be re-signing Kokochev, Kelman, or Seuss. Now, obviously, Kelman and Seuss are angry, so I doubt they'd want to sign regardless. But I do not want to sign Kokochev, as he's 30 years of age and one of those guys who really hasn't impressed me too much. So there you go. It looks like everybody who we have just approached has signed a new deal. And now as we take a look at upcoming FAs, yeah, it looks like we're all set. And we have the award nominations. For the Hart Trophy, you have Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner. For the Vezina, you have Connor Hellebuck, Ilya Samsonov, and Jonas Korpisalo. For the Norris, you have Neil Pionk, Ryan Pulak, and Shea Theodore. For the Calder, you have Braden Tracy, Chaz Lucius, and Pavel Dorofeyev. That's quite the name. Executive of the Year, you have Dave Notice, Jeff Gorton, and Julian Brisbois. For the Selke, you have Anthony Cirelli, Dmitry Voronkov, and Mika Zibanejad. For the Lady Byng, you have Artemi Panarin, Leon Draisaitl, and Nikolai Ehlers. For the Mark Messier Leadership Award, you have Alex Ovechkin, Logan Couture, and Ryan Suter. And it looks like Ovechkin's actually part of the Islanders now. Ted Lindsay Award, you have Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner. And the Jack Adams, you have Jay Pandolfo, Sean George, and Sheldon Keefe. All right, so we are on May 5th, and of course that means we have the World Championships with Belarus coming up. Hopefully this is slightly less of a disaster than what we had with Lithuania. So let's take a look at the possible players that we're working with here. All right, we got some 2-star players in there this time. That's promising compared to what we had with Lithuania. I think with Lithuania we had one and a half star player, and then the rest were all half stars. So we're looking better here. I mean, you got Yegor Sharangovich, so that's, I mean, at least someone I'm familiar with. So here's our roster going into this upcoming tournament. We're looking pretty young. We have quite a few guys who are 25 or younger. We also have a 17-year-old in there, and I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce that name. But if we take a look at his career stats, he has 40 points in 26 games in the Belarusian U20 League, 81 grade. So certainly expecting big things from him. I don't know about, I mean, he's only a 1-star ability, but he does have the 3-star potential, so we'll see what he is about in this tournament. And who knows? I mean, he's 17, so it looks like he'll be eligible for the drafts very soon, if not this year. And it looks like his consensus potential is actually 5-star, but his team scouting potential is only 3-star, so I'm not sure what to make of that. But regardless, if he's available in the draft this year and he does well in this tournament, then maybe that would be a reason for us to take him. All right, so here are our lines going into this tournament. We have the 17-year-old prospect, whose name I'm not even going to bother pronouncing, and Sharangovich on our first line, Kolyachinok and Verobe. Those are all of our best players, so I'm hoping that we can at least get a couple of wins in there. I mean, what's our division looking like? So we have Ukraine, Japan, Slovenia, Great Britain, and Italy. So, I mean, we shouldn't have trouble with most of these teams, honestly. Because as we take a look at Italy, oh yeah, they're not looking too great there. Great Britain, looking a little better than Italy, but not by much. Slovenia, ooh, that's brutal. Japan, yeah. And then the Ukraine, ooh, that is brutal. I mean, given our division, like looking at the teams that are in our division, we should honestly be the best team in this division. Because not only do we have multiple 2-star players, we're basically the only team with multiple 2-star players. So I fully expect this to be a victory for Belarus here. So let's go. game against Ukraine. It will be a 7-1 W for Belarus. Sharangovich, the first star of the game. Shots were 49-14. Domination there. I would expect no less, honestly. But it's good to see some success finally after the brutal tournament that we had with Lithuania. All right, here we go. Game against Japan. Going with the same lines. Same game. We have a 5-2 victory. So could have been better, but could have been worse. So shots were 37-12. 3 stars of the game. Sharangovich, the 17-year-old prospect, and Verobe. So looking good. And now a game against Slovenia. Let's see what we have. We have a 6-4 loss. So there's our first loss of the tournament. Even though we outshot them 56-29, we still got outscored 6-4. Huh. All right, well, that's unfortunate. I mean, we got all the offense we needed as far as shots goes, but we couldn't convert more often. I mean, I guess that's just how it goes sometimes, but still, 56 shots on net, you would have liked to see more than 4 goals. All right, we have Great Britain now. Let's hope for a win here. And we do indeed have a 7-1 victory once again. Shots were 41-11 in favor of us, of course. 7-1 is the final score. And we're in a pretty good spot so far this tournament. 3-1 is our record, I believe. And it looks like what is the final game of this stretch versus Italy. Let's hope for the win here. Same game, we have a 4-1 win. And shots were 61-6. Wow, that is quite the domination. Although, once again, only 4 goals with 61 shots on net. So I suppose most of them weren't quality shots on net. But nonetheless, would have liked to see more out of a 61 shot performance. But I guess we won, so I'm not complaining. Okay, so what happens now? Like, is that it? I think so. Because apparently our next international game is on September 1st for the Olympic qualification round. So it looks like we have indeed won our first championship with Belarus, as we have finished first in the Division 1A championship this year. We went 4-1 with 12 points. And as you can see, championships with the 1 right there. And it doesn't look like they've won any other championships in their time. So I believe that is Belarus's first championship. So there you go. Obviously, it wasn't on the biggest stage. It was just the Division 1A championship, but nonetheless, a win is a win. So I will certainly take it, and it doesn't look like we'll be getting fired this time. And there we go. The playoffs have finished, and the Stanley Cup champions are the Edmonton Oilers over the Philadelphia Flyers in 7 games. Edmonton made it to the finals from beating Winnipeg in 5 games in the Western Conference Finals, and Philly made it to the finals from defeating Washington in the Eastern Conference Finals in 5 games as well. Let's take a look at stats around the league. You have Matthews leading the league with 109 points. Goal-wise, you have Ehlers and Kakko tied with 49, so they share the Maurice Richard. And assists, Mitch Marner with 70 leads the league. And let's see who the best goaltender was. It looks like it was Ilya Samsonov. In 54 games played, had a .924 save percentage and 6 shutouts. Let's see where we ranked for the team stats. So goals for per game, we were last in the league with a 2.39. That is understandable. And goals against per game, we were also down there in 30th with a 3.61. So once again, still have quite a bit of building to do. And a look at our power play, we were, as expected, last in the league with a 12.3%. And the penalty kill, we were 30th in the league with a 77.3. So yeah, there's not much to be said. It was just a rough year in general. Now with the signing deadline coming up for a few of our prospects, Ronnie, Swan, and Fontaine, we are going to sign all 3 of them. And his signing deadline isn't up yet, but we are also going to sign Ludwig Persson. And here we go, awards time. For the Ted Lindsay Award, you have Austin Matthews, same for the Art Ross. The Maurice Richard goes to Nikolai Ehlers. The Lady Bing goes to Artemi Panarin. The Masterton goes to Jacob Voracek. The Mark Messier Leadership Award goes to Ryan Suter. The Jennings goes to Jonas Korpisalo. And the heart between McDavid, Marner, and Matthews, it is Austin Matthews once again. The Conn Smythe goes to Leon Draisaitl. The Calder between Lucius Dorofeyev and Tracy goes to Tracy. The Norris between Theodore, Pulak, and Pionk goes to Pulak. He had 42 points in 79 games played. The Selke Trophy between Sorelli, Voronkov, and Zibanejad goes to Sorelli. The Vezina Trophy between Samsonov, Korpisalo, and Hellebuck, it goes to Connor Hellebuck. The Executive of the Year Award between Nonis, Brisbois, and Gorton goes to Julian Brisbois. And the Jack Adams Trophy between Sheldon Keefe, Sean George, and Jay Pandolfo, it goes to Sheldon Keefe. And here we go. Here is our season summary. Not expecting any of the positive categories. And of course, we also had all of the negative categories. So our total season score for the third year in a row is 0. So another award that wasn't exactly announced, because it's not exactly an award, but it's an honor for sure, as Shane Wright was selected to the all-rookie team this year. Also, we did indeed get Fontaine, Person, Swan, and Ronnie all signed, so they are now all on our roster for the upcoming season. So look who's available in free agency here. Austin Matthews, 26 years of age, 5-star current ability and 5-star potential, 3 100-point seasons in a row. I mean, you can't argue with that. But I will present the same argument that I've said for the past 3 years in free agency. We are nowhere near done building in order to get a player like that on board. But that being said, we have made a lot of progress recently. I mean, obviously, you have Luke Hughes, who is now up to a 5-star potential, actually. Shane Wright, he's growing. Odinger, he's growing. A lot of these guys are getting up there for sure. But we need to, prove ourselves to be a playoff team before we can go for someone like Austin Matthews. And when we take a look at our depth chart, just with the amount of rookies that we have coming in this year, I don't think we need anyone out of free agency, honestly. Like, there's going to be some tough calls that are going to need to be made this year in regards to cutting players, because we have a lot of rookies who are looking to come into the roster and make a name for themselves. So I really don't think we need much out of free agency this year. And it's not like we're at the cap floor right now. We're at $69 million for salary cap. So, I mean, I guess we could get one player, because the normal salary cap is around 82.5, right? So I suppose we could get one contract in there for like 1 year just to give us some flexibility to make a trade or two if we have to at the trade deadline. But, other than that, I think I'm not going to bother much with free agency this year. So I think we need to get a veteran forward. We have a lot of young forwards on this roster. I mean, a lot. Like, the majority of the forwards are 23 or younger. So I think this team, I mean, obviously we have Stahl, we have Fast, we have Pearson. I mean, of course, on the back end, you have a lot of veterans. You have Kulak, Nudavara, Pelech, Mata, Bowie, Aho. Lilligren at this point could be considered a veteran, being 25 years of age. So I think I would like to get a veteran forward in there to spark some competition, I suppose, for the young guys looking to come in. So it's obviously not going to be someone too good, just someone who will push the younger guys to make a clear statement for their spot on the roster. And I think that would be Noel Acciari. He had 31 games played last year with Detroit and only 1 point. So it's not like he's going to be, a definite shoe-in for the lineup each night. Really set on 2 years. I'll offer him a bit more. And there we go. Noel Acciari has signed with us. He wants 55. That's in use. We'll give him 54. And here we go. Draft lottery time. We have the second best odds at the first overall pick. So let's see the order. At pick 16, you have Detroit. 15, you have Florida. 14, you have Nashville. 13, Arizona. 12, Buffalo. 11, Anaheim. So Vegas moves up. At number 10, you have Carolina. So LA also moves up. Wow. At number 9, you have New Jersey. 8, the Senators. 7, Pittsburgh. 6, Chicago. 5, San Jose. Okay. Do we stay in the top 3, or do we move back to 4? We stay in the top 3. All right, good. Montreal falls back to 4. And it is Vegas, LA, and your Seattle Kraken. Who gets number 3? That'd be Vegas. All right, so it's us in LA once again in the draft lottery. Who's going to get number 1 this time? It will be your Seattle Kraken. There it is. All right, so here we go. We're in the draft. We do have our choice of, obviously, whatever player we want, first overall. But the thing is, the player with the best potential is a goaltender, Huta. He's at 4.5-star potential, but only a half-star ability at the moment. I don't know if I want to go for him, honestly. Let's take a look at his stats. Last season, he only had 1 game played last year with an 879. Really not looking too attractive as his first overall pick, and not to mention the year before he only had 2 games played with a 951. So I can't say that I want to go for him, because we only have 3 games worth of data over the past 2 years to go off of, and even the 1 game that he played this year isn't that impressive. So, I don't understand how he has the highest potential in this draft when he's barely played over the past 2 years. What about Ropinen? I mean, okay, we have 4 games out of this guy. At least this guy has a 912 save percentage this year, but I mean, that's only 2 games, so I I can't say I even want him, to be honest. So it doesn't look like there's really any franchise-changing players in this draft, unfortunately. And the best ability, 2.5-star ability, Dubé. Braden Dubé. Looks good with the shot. See his career stats? Yeah, 26 goals this past year in 47 games. Definitely looks like a shooter. Look at that grade. 81 grade this past year. Actually, in the entire simulation, hasn't had anything less than an 80, so that's definitely impressive. But once again, it's just unfortunate. There doesn't appear to be any franchise-changing players in this draft. So I guess with that being said, Dubé's got to be the pick. I mean, his offensive read's a little underwhelming with only a 13, but his shooting accuracy and getting open make up for it. And his determination. Determination's really good too at 17. And he's really good physically. So apparently the first overall pick is projected to be Klassen here. Max Klassen. I don't agree with that. He might be one of the more well-rounded players in the draft, but I wouldn't take him first overall, that's for sure. I mean, the scout is suggesting Huta, but once again, do we take the risk on him? I don't think so. There's not much to go off of. I think I have to take Dubé. He's the best player available. Yeah, it has to be him. Welcome to the Seattle Kraken, Braden Dubé. So we will simulate until our next pick. And let's see who went second. It was Cole Eiserman. And where did that goaltender go? So he went 10th overall to the Carolina Hurricanes, to Joseph Huta. And then Tapani Ropanen, the other goaltender, went to the Arizona Coyotes, 13th overall. So yeah, I knew he wouldn't be a first overall pick, that's for sure. So Klassen was apparently taken 7th overall by Pittsburgh. So he was even taken before Huta. So that's certainly interesting. And he has a vulnerability injury-wise in his top half of his body, so I'm not even sure. I'm not sure why he was ranked as high as he was, but whatever. So here with our second round pick, there are plenty of 3-star potential players left, but there's one player who really stands out for me. That would be Nikita Onishko. He's listed as an offensive forward, and that makes sense because when you look at his offensive ratings, ooh, that's great. That, like, 20 puck handling, 16 getting open, 16 offensive read, 17 shooting accuracy. As physical ratings, those are pretty impressive too. 17 accelerations, 16 agility, 15 in balance speed and stamina. His defensive ratings leave something to be desired, but that's really about it. I mean, he could be if he works out offensively, he could be certainly a threat at the NHL level. 21 goals in 48 games in the VHL. I am definitely liking the looks of that. So I think, without a doubt, we are going to be taking Nikita Onishko with our second round pick. Welcome to Seattle. And now with our third round pick, there are 2 3-star players left in Cederholm and Tomlin. However, Tomlin's already 19. Cederholm is a goaltender who is a half-star ability and only a 3-star potential. I believe we already have a prospect goaltender. I think I might pass on Cederholm in favor of taking possibly Arvidsson, because he appears to be the best player available as far as ability goes. Yeah, he's the only 1.5-star player available. 18 positioning. He looks like a solid two-way forward. 16 goals in France, I believe that is. I don't know how good that is for the league that he's in, but he looks like he could be a solid player all around because, once again, as we take a look at his ratings, very well-rounded basically everywhere, at least offensively and defensively. Physical ratings could be better, but they're not terrible. So overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. So I think we will be taking Marcus Arvidsson with his pick. Welcome to Seattle. Now, there are only 2.5-star potentials left, and there's only obviously 1-star abilities left, as we took the last guy who was a 1.5-star ability. So the best player available right now is Jonas Mackey, who is 20 years old, unfortunately. So we're going to filter out all the 19 and 20-year-olds. We're going to take the maximum age down to 18. And as we do that, that filters out basically all the 2.5-star potentials. We're down to 2-star potentials and only 1-star ability in the form of Drew Stewart, left winger. Let's take a look at him. Passing is at 17. Career stats, 19 goals, 30 assists in 49 games in the USHL. 70 grade. But you know what? We've taken a lot of forwards. Let's take a look at some of these defensemen. You have, wow, I'm not going to even try that one. So it appears this guy is more of an offensive defenseman just based off that offensive read, but nothing too impressive here. I mean, that defenseman looks okay, but I definitely like the forward a lot better here in this instance, so I think we're going to take Stewart. Yeah, nothing too impressive at this point, but there is this guy who's kind of intriguing. Artemi Nizimayev. He has 16 passing, 15 offensive read, 14 positioning, team players at 16, accelerations at 16, so he's a decent physical category. It looks like he has a solid foundation. He has some things to build off of, so at this point in the drafts, I would not be opposed to taking him. Now, where did he go? I lost track of him. So we're at that point in the draft now where I'm just going to start taking players based off mental ratings. So I think overall, I like this guy, Zetterberg. I mean, he's not great, but it'll have to do at this point because I really don't see too many other players that are better. And now I think we'll take this guy, Martin Januskovic. It's my best guess. So there you go. Welcome to the team. And I believe that is it for this year's draft. We're going to sign some players now as Dubé, obviously being that 2.5-star potential. I think we'll sign him right now. He should have a spot on the roster day one. And no one else at this point looks ready for signing, as I do like to wait until a player has a 2-star ability to sign them to the NHL team. So I think that'll be about it for this one. Let me know what you guys think. Remember, hit like and subscribe. And in the next one, I think we will start the year 4 simulation now it is. I think it is. Yeah, year 4. It's hard to keep track sometimes. See you guys then.